Shalom, Israel. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is working on their repentance from the Day of Atonement. I hope you actually gave your soul up for an affliction and a ransom in the most worst way. Wanting to get back into the ways of the Most High, looking to please Him. You know, we need more of that. We have brothers that's doing this now that is looking to get help, not so much as a relief, but for us to just starting to come together. That way we could be on that one track, that one mind, having the same thing flowing, nothing different. So, yeah, man, I definitely took advantage of that Day of Atonement. I actually stretched it out a couple of more days just so I could really make sure that this thing that I'm going for, I can continue to fulfill it. I'm not trying to just do this just so I can get attention. I'm doing it solely because, one, these things are not being said. Two, it's starting to get a little bit more shaky than ever. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are starting to see that. And there's probably some confusion. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people are scared. You have so much doctrine out here, nobody doesn't know which way to turn. So without making ourselves applicable and making sure that we do the things that's right, it's always going to be like this. So I decided to be one of those type of people that took myself out of the trouble, put myself in some good. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I can be an example for those that is just like me, feeling as though I can't do it, feeling as though I know I have more, but I don't know where to start. Start here in the Bible, bro. Trust me, you'll make it. You know what I'm saying? Sisters that's out here that's looking for better, start right here in the Bible, sis. You'll make it. I know for a fact you would. I did. And I didn't see myself going this far. I just thought, I just want to be able to read the word, but to actually understand it, to be able to have the power to put it out, I know it got to be nothing but the power of the Most High. So without further ado, I want to give praise and honor to Ahaya Ashar Ahaya, who we call God. I want to give praise and honor to Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya, who we call Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. I want to thank the Holy Spirit for guiding me throughout everything it is that I'm doing so far, helping out my brothers and my sisters just in the four corners of the earth. I want to give praise and honor and actually thanks to all of the brothers that's actually stepping up and stepping out of trouble and putting themselves into some good. I want to thank the sisters for actually, trying to do a little bit more than what is the normal, stop the heathenist ways, trying to look for something better, trying to look for better understanding. Keep on striving for that, because that truth will be coming to you, sis. Those days of you suffering and not in understanding, the Father got a better idea and a better agenda for you. Just keep on striving and keep on waiting, keep on being patient, keep on being diligent. Stay in your repentance. Don't let nobody twist your arm or bend your arm. Don't become a slave to no man, and no man should become no slave to no woman. We're not in bondage to each other. It's the reason why we came out of Egypt. If that was the case, He would have left us there. So let's not bondage each other. Let's not treat each other rudely. Let's correct each other in all truth. Even if it hurts a little bit, let's correct each other in all truth, so that way we can all get to where we need to go to. You know what I'm saying? This wickedness and this madness and the hurt, the slaughter, we're not really supposed to be going through this, but because of the things that we are going through, there's a reason for it. We left the commandments. So this is the reason why I'm trying to make myself applicable towards that. Without further ado, we're going to get into the lesson today. And this particular lesson is the things that we pretty much on what I was just talking about earlier. We live by a certain standard. We have a certain diet. And that diet is this commandment. If we don't follow the commandment and we don't keep the commandment, it may sound like a broken record, but every time we wake up in the morning and don't give God His due offering, Every time we walk around in the afternoon thinking to do whatever it is that we want to do, we're not giving the Lord our due offering. When the evening comes, we're not giving the Lord our due offering. And we have things to say, but we wind up taking our communication and we let it be wickedness. We got to do a little bit better than this. So without further ado, this particular lesson is for us to get back to our purpose. I've been searching throughout this Bible throughout the whole time that I've been reading this. I have not found not one time where I seen where you have a choice to do my commandments. I have not seen in the commandments or in the law, statutes, and commandments that if you get to a certain age, you don't have to do this. This is an everyday thing, So without further ado, I want to be able to get into this so we can be able to start touching on more of our purpose, actually understanding why when God took us out of Egypt, how this was a guaranteed thing that we were supposed to do from jump. From that time on forth, I don't get a choice to not to do the work of the Most High. So we're going to get into it, and I'm going to start in the law first, and then I'm going to work it right through. And I'm going to start in Deuteronomy today. And then, like I said, I'm going to work my way through. And we're just going to get it started like that. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 1. And Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. Verse 2. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also, the Lord hath said unto me, thou shalt not go over this Jordan. Understand that when Moses was around this time still giving the law, statutes, and commandments to the children of Israel, they wasn't in the wilderness at this point. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of say they was in the wilderness, but they really wasn't in the wilderness. They was on the opposite side of Jordan. The part of Jordan where Canaan is where he's about to be looking at. But he's on the opposite side. And on that particular side is Edom, Ammon, and Moab. I'm about to show you that on the map right now. Just give me 1 second. But these particular people, when he was giving them the law, statutes, and commandments, when Moses was giving it to them, I could show this one. When Moses was giving them the laws, he was on the opposite side of Jordan. So, as you can see, all of this side over here is the opposite side of Jordan. He wasn't on that side. He was on this side. And on this particular side, 2.5 tribes of the children of Israel, Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh, is going to take on this whole side. We already fought on this side already. So Moses is on this side already, but he's not that close. You know what I'm saying? So he's a little bit further back, but he's on this particular side. He can't go over. You dig what I'm saying? So that's where he was letting the children of Israel know, I can't go over Jordan. I can't see that good land. And the reason why I can't see that good land is because the children of Israel, y'all kept murmuring, y'all kept complaining. Everything it is that I tried to do for you for the whole 40 years, you guys just been murmuring and complaining. The only thing y'all been doing is complaining about God. So because of this factor, I can't go over. I won't even be able to lead you over there. But what he was trying to get us to understand is that after this particular thing, with God taking us out of Egypt, with him being 120 years old, there's no such thing as you can murmur, you can complain, you can cry and pout, stick your lips out. There won't be no such thing as that. Once we go over this here Jordan and we're going to take this land, if any man is not doing what he is supposed to do, upon me taking you out of Egypt with a mighty hand and showing my stuff, if you don't go over there, I'm going to have a problem with you. I'm going to have a big problem with you. So around this particular time, Moses is letting them know, I'm 120 years old this day. I can no more go out or and come in. Also, the Lord have said unto me, thou shalt not go over this Jordan. And when he was letting him be known, at the end of the day, God already told me I can't go over. You dig what I'm saying? That's not to say the least, you as the children of Israel, you're not going to go over. But when you go over, there's a thing that you should not do. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to give you a precept to that so you could be able to understand exactly what I'm talking about. This is Genesis chapter 6. And I'm going to read a couple of verses real quick so you could be able to understand exactly why he was letting it be known. Because around this particular time, we heard that 120 years before. And something was happening around those 120 years. This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. Verse 2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all which they chose. Verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So back to what I was telling you about with Moses letting you know that I'm 120 years old this day and I can't go over. If you understand, when he was in the wilderness with the children of Israel, every time they complained, every time they murmured, every time it was always something evil going on. And this is what God taking us out of Egypt and showing us his mighty works. I don't think I would sit in the wilderness somewhere where there's not much city, not much people, and I would think I want to complain against God. I don't think I would want to. Most people would, not me, after seeing everything it is that he has done so far. So, only thing that God ever seen from us in the wilderness was that we murmured, we complained, and we only had evil in our heart. We had a wicked imagination. We couldn't understand why God took us up out of Egypt. We could have been better off staying here with them beating us and giving us slop. You got us in the wilderness right now, Moses, eating his dry bread. We ain't got no wine to drink like how we used to have it when we first came out with God. But guess what? You got to do a thing to get that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be able to relax and, look for the good things that God actually gave us, you got to do a thing for that. You got to work for it. So because of this factor, from the 120 years during Noah's time, the wickedness that was going about, it was giants in that time, things that was going on it was just madness. So because of this factor, God told Noah, listen, you being a preacher, man, I want you to go throughout the earth, and I want you to let the people know, if they don't change their ways, 120 years from this point, I'm going to take everything. I'm going to flood it. I'm going to destroy it. And because of this factor, the people was not listening. The people wasn't hearkening. The people didn't understand it. So because this, on the 120th year, they come knocking on the ark. Yo, Noah, let us in, let us in. And God said no. Now picture this for a second. On the 120th year, they came and knocked on the door. And yo, can we come in with you? Can we be saved? No. So that tells you right there that God has mercy up until a point. My fuse is very short. You could have stopped on the 119th year, but you didn't. You stopped on the 120th year. So no, there's no mercy for you. So because of this factor, When we was going over Jordan, when God took us out, there will be no such thing as I'm going to continue to have mercy and compassion on you if you don't feel like fighting. You don't have a choice in this. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 3. The Lord thy God, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee, and thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. Excuse me, and before I get into that, because as I'm thinking of this, and as I was telling you about like the 120 years with Moses and the whole situation with Noah, how it's comparing the two, you got to understand these things was going to continue to keep on going. It never stopped. Just because we got God, it was always going to be a group of men who was always going to be disobedient. Never once did he think that it was going to be in his own children. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to show something real quick because it just hit me just now. Just give me 1 second. Going to the book of Lamentations real quick. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 3 and verse 1. I am the man that have seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. And around this particular time, when even from the beginning of time from Noah, all the way up until the time of us coming out of Egypt, it's been nothing but wrath. And even though it was wrath, God handed out punishments to all of those people. And figuring, once I take my children of Israel out of Egypt, they're going to do a thing for me. They're going to actually make sure that every work that I want done, they're going to make sure that's done. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just wanted to be able to touch on that, to get us closer to our purpose. He didn't just choose us just to choose us. You know what I'm saying? We know good just like everybody else, but we were smaller than everybody else. We was only doing things solely because of everybody else was doing it. We ain't know no better. So let me give y'all some law. Let me give you some correction. But you particularly going to do my work. You're going to do my service. I'm going to be with you. You know what I'm saying? So let me get back into it. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 3. The Lord thy God, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee. And thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. And the Lord shall do unto them as he did to Sihon and to Og, kings of the Amorites, and unto the land of them whom he destroyed. Verse 5. And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according unto all the commandments which I have commanded you. So understand this, that if God is letting you know this particular type of person, I don't care if this man is wearing purple and he's trying to be courageous and royal, if he don't have the transformation as far as the things that I require, I'm gonna let you destroy him. If he's green and he's immature and unripe, I'm gonna let you destroy him. If these nations are making themselves kings and princes and not honoring me, I'm gonna make you destroy them, because this is in my commandment. I will not have nobody being exalted above the children of Israel, let alone being exalted and have another God worshiping besides me. So because of this factor, when I bring these people to you, you're going to destroy them. I'm going to deliver these people in your face, and you're going to do everything it is that I commanded you to do. That's great power. Who wouldn't want to work for God like that? I know I would. I ain't got no issues doing it. You dig what I'm saying? I don't have no issues doing that. So because of this factor, when he is letting you know that these are the things that I'm going to do, you don't have no option not to do it. You don't have no option not to think, to say the least, well, the people is kind of helping us out. And, I don't want to block my blessings. God do not care about those other people. God will give you a way better blessing than any other man would. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to Deuteronomy chapter 12 real quick so you could be able to understand what I'm talking about. We're not at rest yet. This is Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord God of thy fathers giveth thee to possess it, all the days that ye live upon the earth. Verse 8. Ye shall not do after all the things that we do here this day. Every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. We can't, we got to remember we are scattered. We in different types of parts of land. We wasn't, according to us being born, when we was born, we wasn't put together to let us know from the time we was a baby growing up, yo, this is what you are. Some of us had certain households where, this is what you are, you a Christian, or this is what you are, you a Baptist, this is what you are, you a Catholic, this is what you are, you a Muslim. We had these particular things, and yes, in our upbringing. But once you start to come out and you start to realize, damn, something is different. You see the Christian man arguing with the Muslim man is arguing with the Christian man. Then you might find the Jew, and then he might argue with both of them. So you might never know, and you come into this particular confusion. But if we was brought up with the direct truth, nothing else, no philosophy, just the truth only, then coming up, it wouldn't have been so bad. No man would actually think to say, well, I can be a Christian. I have a choice to do this. No man has a choice in this because it does not say that in the Bible. So because of this factor, we cannot continue to say, yo, I'm right, you're right, he's right, that person is right, right? If we don't have a Bible out, if we don't have the proof to back it up, can't nobody be right. You dig what I'm saying? Verse 9. For ye are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God giveth you. So right now we at rest. We got our feet up, and then we're making a choice at that. You can't choose to put your feet up and accept whatever is coming to you. You know what I'm saying? That's not an option. So because of this factor, when Moses was letting it be known, in that particular time, every man was right in his own eyes, and we was in the wilderness at that time. And because of this factor, with us being right, that's my brother over there, and I like what he is talking about right now. But then I have a brother over here. Now you got us scattered into four corners of the earth. I may be your brother, but I might decide to say I want to worship another God. I might want to worship another religion. Just because I'm talking with good wisdom, you might feel as though, yo, I like what he's saying right there. I could kind of get that. You dig what I'm saying? If I was worshiping another religion and another God, but I'm the same color as you, you are supposed to rebuke me. You are supposed to let me know, yo, bro, that's you going off. You going off the reservation. You worshiping a white God. You worshiping a God that was sitting on camels. Niggas was following camels in the land to figure out exactly where we're going to build this man a temple at. You bugging. You dig what I'm saying? Pull my coat. Don't never let me go off. You know what I'm saying? But then you have certain brothers who allow them brothers to actually go off. Go ahead, do whatever it is that you want. It's your choice. No man has a choice in this. You know what I'm saying? If that man is going off and he's wrong, you got to let him know. If that sister is going off and she's wrong, you got to let her know. So that way she don't die, she don't get burnt up for ignorance. Because this is why we get punished. Ignorance is not that you're stupid. It means that you don't know. If you didn't know that in the commandments, this is what's being said about you, how would you know? Because you don't read. You know what I'm saying? So let me get the, matter of fact, let me get the precept for this. This is in the Apocrypha. This precept that I'm going to get when I was talking about, we can't be right in our own eyes, because at the end of the day, with us thinking to say, well, I can have my own opinion. This person can have their own opinion. Everybody got a choice. We don't got a choice in this, because once we figured out that, I thought that I can be able to be a Muslim. I thought that I could be a Christian. I thought that I could be this. Everybody has a judgment. And because of this particular judgment, you might get judged according to this factor, because once you find out that, your Muslim religion is not real, if you find out that your Christianity religion is not real, if you find out that you thought that I don't have to believe in God and I don't believe there is a God, is not a real thing, at the end of the day, you have the confusion of faces. Certain things you might hear, I never heard of that before. I'm a little confused now. I thought that I could do anything that I wanted to do. Nah, you really can't. But these things are not being brought out because everybody has a delicate tongue. I want to be nice. I want to be sweet. I don't want to disrespect nobody. God don't give you that option to respect persons. You know what I'm saying? This is in the book of Baruch, chapter 1, verse 13. Pray for us also unto the Lord our God, for we have sinned against the Lord our God, and unto this day the fury of the Lord and his wrath is not turned from us. Verse 14. And ye shall read this book, which we have sent unto you, to make confession in the house of the Lord, upon the feast and solemn days. 15. And ye shall say, to the Lord our God belongeth righteousness, but unto us the confusion of faces, as it is come to pass this day, unto them of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to our kings, and to our princes, and to our priests, and to our prophets, and to our fathers. For we have sinned before the Lord, and disobeyed him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in the commandments that he gave us openly. So he gave us these particular commandments to do a particular thing, but we didn't do it. We didn't do it. And around this time, we are realizing, around that particular time, they was realizing, the children of Israel realizing, we sinned. All of these things that's happening to us is because we sinned. Now, we got to try to make supplication, because we thought that the way we was moving and the way our thoughts was right. We thought this was a great thing to have our own opinion. We thought it was a great thing to go worship other gods. And because of this factor, we see that that wasn't it. Because we ain't have no help. We getting smitten on each side. You get smitten from your other nations. Then you have your own brothers and sisters that's of your kindred that want to kill you off too. So how much more mayhem can one man take? You got to remember when God told you that. At the end of the day, man is flesh, and his imagination is wicked continually. So because of this factor, this is the reason why I gave you the commandments. You understand? So once we start getting back to those, we should not have confusion of faces, because you can't be confused when you got the commandment in the book open. There's no way in the world a person could lie when he got the book open. You can't twist that no other way. We all have sense. So because of this factor, when a man got his book closed and want to try to tell you some philosophy story, nah, open that book up, show me exactly what you're talking about, and then break it down like that, and then give me a couple of precepts so I could be able to understand exactly what's going on. Give me a couple of witnesses. You dig what I'm saying? So this is when that comes into pass, where because a person can't do that, because they like the philosophy and they like to philosophize about things, at the end of the day, this is where the contention come into play. Because I can't philosophize to you, because I really can't give it to you like that. I just want you to see it like this. I don't care what you want me to see. Show me the proof. And if you can't show me the proof, then I'm striving for the truth all the way until I die. I'm not going to accept any more of your handout or your philosophy. You can keep that and put it in your back pocket. This is what we need to tell the people. You know what I'm saying? So moving forward, this is I'm back in the Old Testament in Deuteronomy. I'm up to Deuteronomy chapter 6 and 31. Deuteronomy chapter 30, Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doeth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Verse 7. And Moses called unto Joshua and said unto him in the sight of all Israel. He didn't say it privately. He didn't say it secretively. I'm saying this in front of all of the children of Israel. You got to understand, we 6,000 deep. Be strong and of a good courage, for thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them. And thou shalt cause them to inherit it. Understand what he is letting you know. I'm going to read that line again, verse 7 and 31. And Moses called unto Joshua and said unto him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of a good courage, for thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them. And thou shalt cause them to inherit it. The definition of the word cause is purpose. There's no such thing now. If that word wasn't there, then I could say, yeah, everybody can choose to do whatever it is that they want to do. But when he says, I'm causing you to go and inherit the land, if we're not inheriting the land right now and the land is not ours, then actually we got a purpose now. If you're reading this and you looking at the Bible and saying, damn, I have not seen the word where God said purpose. God's not going to use the word purpose. He's going to use other words for you to be able to seek it out so you could be able to understand it. I caused you to do this. So now, if he caused Joshua to go over Jordan to subdue the land and take it, because it's supposed to be ours, we're in another strange land right now that we don't own nothing. But yet, we are saying that we are people of God. If you're a person of God, then you are taking up your purpose. You are actually looking and saying, listen, at the end of the day, God gave me a cause. When I was born, my parents may have not gave me my purpose, but God gave me a purpose, and I found it in this book, and it was hidden. I didn't know. Now we know. This is why we need brothers. This is why we need certain people to bring out certain things. When you have a purpose, it's nothing much more better than that. Because can't nobody stop you according to your purpose. But if you have a choice, you could pick up on this. You could choose to do that. You can choose whenever you feel like doing it. But when you have a purpose, you don't have no time to actually choose anything else. Because this right here is the most toughest thing. You gotta subdue nations. You gotta get your brother back into the truth. You gotta get your sister back into the truth. You gotta even stand up against your father and mother and bring them back into holiness. And making sure that they following the law, statutes, and commandments the right way, the way they were supposed to. That's a lot. So you got a purpose. There's no such thing as, I'm going to just choose just to do this. I'm going to choose to do that. You know what I'm saying? So your days is busy. You know what I mean? Let me get that in. Let me get Proverbs chapter 15. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 22. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. So you can be able to have your purpose. You could be able to fulfill certain things, especially according to the law, statutes, and commandments, when you have a group of people, one, that's thinking on the same agenda. No, out of 5 people, you're not going to have 2 or 3 people going against the 2 people that say, yo, listen, I got a purpose. Or, you got everybody else saying, nah, I just got a choice. I just want to come and hear some feel good. Other than that, I don't want to do nothing. You don't have that. But when you got 5 people that sat on that same purpose, you can fulfill a lot. You could get a lot of things done. Maybe one man could be able to, gather the brothers around. Another man could be able to talk the word. Another man could be able to read the word. That's great when you could be able to come together because we serving that one purpose according to God. We're not fulfilling our own way. You know what I'm saying? When we start to fulfill our own way, then we don't get nothing. We ain't gonna have nothing good coming to us. You know what I'm saying? Let me get another little preset for it. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 12. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So at the end of the day, be glad at this. Be glad that at the end of the day, I found the purpose. I found out what it is that I got to do. And I already know that these people are going to come at me because they did that to the prophets too. They did this before. They ain't just do that to the prophets. They did that to Christ too. They murmured and complained against him. Nah, you bugging. You bugging. We all out here. We all got a choice. You know what I'm saying? So because of this factor, he came to rebuke all of that. I'm putting everything in check. I'm not going to miss nothing. You know what I'm saying? So because of this factor, he was talking, but when he's talking, you thinking that he's talking to the whole world. He got the multitude around, but that message was going directly to the children of Israel when they was going to read this later. And once you figure out, damn, I got a purpose, what was he talking about? Oh, all right, so when my brothers and my sisters come at me and say I'm bugging, I got a choice. At the end of the day, you understand that God already told you this, Anthony. He already told you that they persecuted the prophets back then. What makes you think that they're not going to persecute you? So once you see this, and it's actually, you could expose it and say, yo, listen, the Father said that this was going to happen. Now, brothers and sisters, do y'all want to get down now for real? Because that wasn't by coincidence. He didn't just say that just to say it, right? You dig what I'm saying? So when you go to your brother or your sisters to let them know, all your elders, we got to get back to our purpose, they're going to say, nah, I could do what I want. Understand that that's a persecution that you're going to be going through. It can get much higher than that, but that will be the beginning process of the persecution that Christ is talking about. You dig what I mean? But rejoice at it, because for you doing what you're doing and making sure you could be a prophet for the Most High, at the end of the day, you already know that what you're getting as a reward. This is what we all looking for anyway. If we're looking for a reward, then why not go for it for real? You know what I'm saying? So this is Deuteronomy. I'm going back into Deuteronomy, chapter 31, and I'm on verse 8. And the Lord, he it is that doeth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. These people was going to come out with all types of doctrines. These people was all going to come out with different types of gods and things of that nature. And because of this factor, you was going to see certain power in certain men. And you was going to see this in other nations. And when God was letting you know, don't be scared of that. That's nothing. He's nobody. When David was fighting Goliath, David kept it real. Yo, at the end of the day, this is an uncircumcised man. I don't care how tall he is. At the end of the day, he don't have the right to talk about the children of Israel and say they're going to be his servants. He don't have the right to even have lips to even speak right now. David wasn't dismayed. He didn't look at the giant and was fearful. He looked at him like, yo, he is soft. You soft, dude. You dig what I'm saying? So that's how you got to look at people when they coming at you with all types of false doctrines. You got to look at them and say, yo, you soft. I don't believe you. I'm not dismayed at you just because you could do a sign and a wonder, because you got houses, because you got cars, because you got land. At the end of the day, I'm not dismayed at that. Because I know that that's not in my Father. My Father's not going to just give you a piece of possession and everybody else be poor. You dig what I'm saying? So you're not going to entice me just because you got a little thing and you saying that, oh, the Lord gave me this. Absolutely not. I know the difference between what the Lord will give and what the Lord wouldn't give. You dig what I'm saying? So when you know these particular things, you ain't going to be fearful. Yeah, you won't be dismayed. Let me get the book of Psalms. This is in the book of Psalms, 121. This is the book of Psalms, verse 121. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 121 and verse 5. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall smite thee by day. Salakia. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read it over. Psalms 121 and verse 5. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, and even forevermore. So when he was letting Joshua know, yo, be of good courage, don't be dismayed or anything like that. At the end of the day, that's also when we are doing this and you working towards this, that same line that was told to Joshua is told to everybody of the children of Israel. And because of this factor, when you're going out there, don't be dismayed. Don't be fearful, because I'm with you. I'm right there in the midst of your conversation. I'm just making sure I'm watching you, that you don't get dismayed. Because if you be dismayed and you happen to say, well, you know what, this man is telling me he got a choice, I'm going to get ahead and, listen to this and get ahead and rock with this and say, great, hey, good job. No. You digging what I'm saying? I'm with you. I'm going to talk with you. And if you following my law and you make sure you studied, at the end of the day, it's nothing that you cannot do for me. I'm going to make sure of that. You dig what I'm saying? So to understand, the Father gives us so much power that we don't even know. We wouldn't even be able to handle it. If he came and told you how much power you had, you wouldn't be able to handle it. Let me get the book of Mark. This is the book of Mark, chapter 12. Verse 35. And Jesus answered and said, while he taught in the temple, how say the scribes that Christ is the son of David? For David himself said by the Holy Spirit, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. David therefore himself calleth him Lord. And whence is he then his son? And the common people heard him gladly. So they was trying to figure out, well, at the end of the day, ain't you Joseph's son? Or if you're not Joseph's son, then he's David's son. If he's not David's son, then he's looking like, oh, he gotta be God. He got to be the son of God. There's no way in the world this man can do the miracles that he's doing and not have the power of God. No man naturally can do this. You know what I'm saying? No man can naturally do these particular things. But when you work by God and you live by God, you only looking to please the Most High, at the end of the day, is nothing that the Most High would not give you. You know what I'm saying? You could rebuke spirits and make them who was of an evil, contrite heart. You could help them change their way according to the words of God. Because they don't know it. We're all ignorant to a fact. And let me get the proof of that. So just so you know, at the end of the day, yeah, but ain't David, his son? No, he's not. No, he is not. This is to give you the precept to Mark chapter 12, verse 35 through 37. This is Psalms chapter 110 and verse 1. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies. So when he sends his rod out, he's going to send this rod out into the midst of Zion. You digging what I'm saying? Remember what I was telling you in Lamentations. I have seen the affliction of the rod and the wrath of man, of what the Most High does. So because of this factor, that rod that he's throwing out, that rod is for us to be able to smite these enemies or his enemies. And because of this factor, he gave us a job to do. Why wouldn't you, you know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you want your job? So we're going to go back into Deuteronomy, and I'm going to be closing this up shortly. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 9. And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests, the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel. Verse 10. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, and the solemnity of the year of release, and the Feast of Tabernacles, verse 11, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Verse 12, gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law. 13. And that their children, which have not known anything, may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as ye live in the land, whether ye go over Jordan to possess it. So that's pretty much clear cut. The people that have not known anything. How much of the wars do we really know between the Philistines, between, the Egyptians? How much do we really understand of it? Excuse me, Salakia. How much do we really understand between the wars of Moab, the wars of Ammon? You dig what I'm saying? How these people was worshiping Muslim gods then? How much of the war do we really know? And a lot of us don't know it because you have a group of people who's picking on other things besides their purpose. So when you have a person that's actually doing their purpose, they're going to bring about certain things that you have not heard before. And the reason why is because this is not an option. I cannot not tell you the things that you don't know. I have to tell you this. I have to let you know, listen, these were the things that was going on. And the reason why these things were going on is because around this particular time, God took us out and said, listen, you're going to be my special people. And because of this factor, we became a special people, but then became rotten. We became immature. We became a group of people who refused to listen and hearken to direction. So over this time, I have to get you, I have to get the women, I have to get the men, I have to get the children and teach them to get you to fear my God. I have to teach you, make sure you learn, make sure you bow your ear. When you repent, you're repenting and turning from the old way and turning to the new way. That doesn't, with you repenting though, also comes with listening, bowing your ear down and taking heed to the thing that you're hearing. You dig what I'm saying? You're not just, well, let me hear what you got to say and then I'm not going to take it. At the end of the day, you got to listen. And then if the book is open, there's no way in the world you can say, I heard some truth, but I don't got to follow it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to move on. And then I'm going to give you exactly what he was talking about people who did not know anything. You got to teach them these things. This is the book of Judges. This is the book of Judges, chapter 3, and verse 1. Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. This is after the death of Joshua. After Joshua took us over and brought us into the land of Jordan, and we started taking our land and our possessions, we don't have a leader now. You know what I'm saying? So when Joshua died off, we don't have a leader. And because of this factor, when God brought us into the land, God already let us know, I'm not going to kill all of the nations off in one day or in 1 year. This is going to be in every generation of your children. They have to stand up and fight. This is not just going to be you come into the land and you fight and then you have your kids and y'all going to live in peace. Absolutely not. Every man must take up his purpose and fight throughout your generations. You know what I'm saying? So he left some nations behind to prove us, to make sure we're willing to follow the commandment. Verse 2, only that the generation of the children of Israel might know to teach them war, at the least, such as before knew nothing thereof. Verse 3, namely, 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Bel Hermon unto the entering in of Hamath. I don't know if anybody ever have heard it, but it's a lot of wars that we have had, but it's a little bit misunderstood. We kind of get looked at when you look at the Philistines, for an example, how I was mentioning King David. You think to say, all right, King David took down the Philistine, a giant. Okay, cool. Yes, he did do that. That was a great thing. You dig what I'm saying? He took him down, hit him with the sling, and the giant fell, right? Great victory. But that's a thing that when you have the power of the Most High God, that's a thing to kind of consider and look at and say, I wish I kind of had that power too. But you looking at the you got to look at the smaller things that led up to that. And those things that was leading up to that is very more important than actually looking at King David and him taking down a giant with a sling. There was things that was going on that you might not even know about when he was fighting the Philistines. Before David even came about, that war with the Philistines was very different. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what I'm going to touch on. I'm going to touch on a little bit of the Philistines as a out of all of the lords that's in this particular thing. I'm going to touch on the Philistines because at the end of the day, like I said, there's little things that's in that story that you might not really understand or might not know. And we still follow this same pattern still to this day. And this is the book of Judges, chapter 21 and verse 25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So around this particular time, before we even got King David, before we even got King Saul, before we even had any king, we didn't have no king. Every man just did what was right in his own eyes. Now we read in the law how do not go into the land and be right in your own eyes. Don't do whatever it is that you're going to do. So clearly, you see that we broke a commandment there. You dig what I'm saying? So how much more do you really think that it was going to become wicked? And we're going to see right now. So we're going to go into the book of 1 Samuel, and you're going to go to chapter 4. And I'm going to just read down, but I'm going to explain it to you as I go. And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle, and pitched beside Ebenezer, and the Philistines pitched in Aphek. Aphek is, just to give you a show of what we are talking about. The land that they was fighting between Ebenezer and Aphek was in the land of Ephraim. So if you have this book, you could look in the land of Ephraim and you'll see those two names where they was battling at, right? Verse 2. And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel. And when they joined battle, Israel was smitten before the Philistines. And they slew of the army in the field about 4,000 men. And when the people were come into the camp, the elders of Israel said, Wherefore hath the Lord smitten us today before the Philistines? Let us fetch the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of Shiloh unto us, that when it cometh amongst us, it may save us out of the hand of our enemies. Our enemies, and this has been going on for a time. And go to the book of Chronicles real quick. I just want you to understand who are the Philistines. This is the first book of Chronicles, chapter 1 and verse 8. The sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Verse 11. And Mizraim begot Ludim, and Anamim, and Lahabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrasim, and Cashluhim, of whom came the Philistines, and Cath through him. So because of these particular men, these were 7 children of the fall of this. These are the 7 sons of Mizraim. Mizraim is the son of Ham. Understanding that between this particular time, this animosity has never left. After the flood, and it was the sons of the sons of Noah are Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And because the son of Ham cursed his grandfather and seen his nakedness and was laughing, because of this now, the power and everything goes to Shem and the sons of Ham and the sons of Japheth. Y'all gonna have to, Ham, yes sir, your kids are gonna be my servant. Japheth, you're gonna have to dwell in the tent of Shem. Because of this factor, when they found out that Shem is gonna have the power and we gotta listen to Shem, we're not doing that. So every man left and separated himself. So because of this factor, this animosity from the bloodline of Ham, even from the bloodline of Japheth, was always brewing. And it's still going to brew still to this day. It's because of the factor that God chose this particular man instead of everybody. And I'm feeling a certain kind of way. And these people, it doesn't matter how much you explain it to them, they're always going to feel a certain kind of way because God chose a particular group of people and not everybody. So they always want the Bible closed so that way we could put everybody into it. No, open that thing up so that way we could be able to see everybody is not going. You know what I'm saying? This is 1 Samuel chapter 4, and I'm back on verse 3. And when the people were come into the camp, the elders of Israel said, Wherefore hath the Lord smitten us today before the Philistines? Let us fetch the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of Shiloh unto us, that when it cometh amongst us, it may save us out of the hand of our enemies. Verse 4. So the people sent to Shiloh, that they might bring from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth between the cherubims. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. Verse 5. And when the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth rang again. Verse 6. And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, What meaneth the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews? And they understood that the ark of the Lord was come into the camp. And the Philistines were afraid, for they said, God is come into the camp. And they said, woe unto us, for there have not been such a thing heretofore. Verse 8, woe unto us! Who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness. Verse 9, be strong and quit yourselves like men, O ye Philistines, that ye be not servants unto the Hebrews as they have been to you. Quit yourselves like men and fight. And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten, and they fled every man into his tent. And there was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. So because of this factor, one, you may not understand that particular part of the story, so I'm going to try to fill it in. To understand that when that was happening, one, we all know that the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, not just anybody can bear. Anybody can't just go and get it. That only belongs to the children of the Levites, out of the children of Israel. The Levites are only to bear the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. They are to only touch it. There could be no other nation that can go and touch it to make a judgment call such as, yo, bring me this, bring me that. No. You dig what I'm saying? So because of this factor, when they did this particular thing, they figured, okay, we're going to bring the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord through, and then this is how it's going to be. You dig what I'm saying? And we're going to win this battle, and guess what? We at victory. You dig what I'm saying? But it didn't happen like that. It did not happen like that at all. So I'm going to read down. I'm going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. And when they wound up doing this particular thing, they took the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord and they brought it into their own land. Now, the Philistines, they worship Dagon as a goddess, and they also worship Ashtoreth. Dagon is more like agriculture, more like soil, things of that nature. You know, planting, plowing, things of that. Ashtoreth is a fertility goddess, and she was a god to many people, known as many goddesses of many different things. You dig what I'm saying? And because of these factors, when you have certain things like that, these are the type of gods that the Philistines was worshiping, and they was trying to instill that on the children of Israel as well. And around this time, when they took the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, they put it in their temple in front of their god called Dagon. So when God, seeing this, and this is just the ark, he took the god and threw him on the floor. You could be able to read that in chapter 5. He took this god and threw him on the floor. You dig what I'm saying? So the Philistines come back into the room like, yo, what happened to our God? That died Dagon. Why is it on the floor? Let's pick him up. They pick him up, put him back in his place, and wiped him off. When did what they did. The next day, it's time to come and pray again. God tossed that nigga down again, cut his head off, and cut off his palms right here, like just off of this part. So he still had this, like it was still this nub right here, and he left him on the floor just kneeling like that. So when the people seen it, they looking like, yo, this Ark of the Covenant of the Lord is because of these things that's happening to us. We got to get rid of it. We got to get this thing out of here because this thing is going to destroy us. Understanding that when they stole something, I don't even think they realized that they trespassed against the Lord. So God wanted to show, when you trespass against me, this is the punishment and the things that I'm going to do to you. And according to these particular things, you're not going to like it. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm going to go to verse 6 in 1 Samuel chapter 5. Verse 6. And the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with hemorrhoids, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. Verse 9. And it came, and it, sorry, Salakia, verse 9. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had hemorrhoids in their secret parts. Therefore, they sent the ark of God to Ekron. And it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, They have brought about the ark of God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. Verse 11. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, Send away the ark of the God of Israel and let it go again to his own place, that it should slay us not and our people. For there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there. Verse 12. And the men that died not were smitten with the hemorrhoids, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. So this is the next part that I'm going to get into, and then I'm going to explain to you what was really going on. This is 1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 1. And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. And the Philistines called the priest and the diviners, saying, What shall we do to the ark of the Lord? Tell us wherewith we shall send it to his place. Verse 3. And they said, If ye send away the ark of the God of Israel, send it not empty, but in any wise return him a trespass offering. Then ye shall be healed, and it shall be known to you why his hand is not removed from you. Verse 4. Then said they, What shall be the trespass offering which we shall return to him? They answered, 5 golden hemorrhoids and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines. For one plague was on you all, and on your lords. Verse 5. Wherefore ye shall make images of your hemorrhoids, and images of your mice that mar the land. Ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel. Peradventure, he will lighten his hand from off you, and from off your gods, and from off your land. Verse 6. Wherefore then do ye harden your hearts, as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts, when he had wrought wonderfully among them? Did they not let the people go, and they departed? Understanding that the priest and the diviners around that particular time, they even knew our law. I want you to understand that the nations that's not of you, that's not of the children of Israel, they know our law. But they do what they do to us because of the fact we don't know our law, because we are ignorant to it and we won't do it. They take advantage of it. But understanding that the priests of the Philistines and their diviners, they knew the law. They know that if you trespass against the Lord, yeah, you're going to have to pay for that. And that's in the law of Deuteronomy. You dig what I'm saying? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And overtake thee. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 27, I'm sorry. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. Botch is like to, in a bungling way, an imperfect work. You dig what I'm saying? If I want to toss you up and twist you out, you're going to look imperfect. You dig what I'm saying? The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with the itch whereof thou canst not be healed. So understanding that the Philistines, they knew that at the end of the day, you just trespassed against God. You touched something of his. And when you did this particular thing, you didn't even realize that you trespassed. So if you're going to return the ark of God back to these particular people, if you're going to do that, don't send that ark back empty. Instead, in order for you to have some type of, for God to take his hand up off of you, what you're going to have to do, Philistines, is you're going to have to send images of the hemorrhoids that he gave you, and images of 5 mice dipped in gold. Now, what you're doing in this, you showing that at the end of the day, the hand of the Lord was on us. Guess what? That was at a point of time where God was showing us as the children of Israel, whether y'all do my job or not, my purpose, as far as taking over these nations, is always going to get fulfilled. Whether you want to do your job or not, I'm going to make sure my purpose get fulfilled. But understand this. Just as the Philistines was getting hemorrhoids and things like that, we also was getting it too. So because of this factor, you even have that in our day to day. Hemorrhoids is definitely not a good feeling. Women get it pretty much mostly because of pregnancy. And it comes stemly from that. When they go to give birth, they have to push. It comes from straining, but it also comes from a diet. If you don't listen and hearken to the commandments, that means that you're willing to eat anything else that you're not supposed to eat. And because of this, you're going to get hemorrhoids. Most people, when they get hemorrhoids, they live with this for about 10, 12, 15 years in pain. So around this particular time, they had Ashtoreth, like I said, and Dagon. They would go and pray to their God, and suddenly Ashtoreth said, you know what? I'm going to give your guys a pharmacy. And she gave them a pharmacy. And in the pharmacy, you go to a pharmacy today, in order to cure your hemorrhoids, you can't cure it really, but you can soothe the pain a little if you go and buy some Tusk. It's like these white discs, and you put them in your refrigerator, and they're very thin. You fold the Tusk and you put it in your buttocks, and it has like hazelnut on it. It has different types of ingredients, and it's supposed to make the hemorrhoids like swell down, and eventually it'll go away. But if you have hemorrhoids to the point where they come and they bust open, you have to go to the hospital. You have to get this thing a little bit treated so it can be able to close up. You got to remember, your backside don't get air. It's always moisture there. So you can't have your clothes on when you have this particular thing so it can be able to air out, dry out. You dig what I'm saying? Certain things you might have to do. You dig what I'm saying? So around this particular time, he gave these people hemorrhoids and mice running through their land. Now, because of this factor that he did this for the mice, he wanted it to be known that just because you got hemorrhoids, I already know you're going to try to go to your gods and pray and seek some type of remedy. I'm not going to allow you to be comfortable. One thing about hemorrhoids is that it's not a comfortable feeling. If you clit your butt, if you have to go use the bathroom to relieve yourself, that hurts. That pain really hurts. You hate to walk. You hate to even want to talk to anybody. You dig what I'm saying? So because of this factor, this particular situation could put you in a little bit of discomfort. You dig what I mean? It's not a comfortable feeling. So when him sending mice through the land is to let them know you're not going to be sitting up, relaxing and thinking that you're going to do whatever it is that you want to do. Oh, no, not in here. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11 and verse 13. Verse 12, I'm sorry, Salakia. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11 and verse 12. For a double grief came upon them, and a groaning for the remembrance of things past. For when they heard by their own punishments the other to be benefited. They had some feeling of the Lord. Now, understand this. These people, when God told them, yo, listen, you got to make it, I want y'all to make images of your hemorrhoids and have it in gold and send that to me as a trespass offering so the children of Israel can see I still was able to fulfill part of my purpose. My hand is not off of them, but I was fulfilling my purpose. Now, y'all got to get back to work. Understand this. If God made you do something like this, you a nation, and you got to send this back to the children of Israel. So now you realize that the God that you thought was for everybody, he winds up hitting me in my land with hemorrhoids, and it's killing us. It's destroying us. And I have to send his ark back in an image of the thing that he gave me to the children of Israel. You could best believe that these people grew animosity. And over time, it was always going to be like that. These people grew animosity every time. And because of the fact of you growing animosity and hatred towards somebody, you know what I'm saying? They couldn't stand us. Still like it is to this day. These people can't stand us. They grew that once they realized that it's who it's for, these Negroes, nah. So this is what it looks like. That is a picture of a hemorrhoid in gold. That is an image of a golden hemorrhoid, right? And this is what they had to send back to God, and when they sent back the ark. Now, understanding this, that's an embarrassing moment. You dig what I'm saying? Because just as it is in our history right now, that's in their history too. You don't think that they remember that? You don't think that they think about that? You dig what I'm saying? I gotta form another way to be crafty with these group of people. And they did. You dig what I'm saying? They did. They definitely always was being crafty. This is not just a first thing. You dig what I'm saying? This is 1 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 13. So the Philistines were subdued, and they came no more into the coast of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. Verse 14. And the cities which the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron even unto Gath, and the coast thereof did Israel deliver out of the hands of the Philistines. And there was peace between Israel and the Amorites until a time. It was peace all the way up until the time. And because of this peace, again, as I said to you in Judges chapter 21 and 25, we didn't have a king. We had only our first man that actually was able to help us out was Samuel. Yes, it was other men throughout the book of Judges, but when Samuel came up as a prophet, we won that battle against the Philistines, and we had peace according to having a prophet. We didn't have a king. So when you going into Samuel and you recognizing or getting yourself acquainted with King David, understand that there wouldn't have been no need for King David because there was a thing that was asked that we should have not asked. But because of the factor that we asked these particular things, God decided to show us exactly what's going to happen. And when you go into that, you can understand the battle of the Philistines started to uproar again. You dig what I'm saying? Because of the children of Israel, we always sin against our God when we shouldn't. You dig what I'm saying? We got to stick to our purpose, stick to our plan, and start doing the things that he is actually requiring us to do. Because of the fact of the matter is, I'm with you. I abide by you. I'm for you. I'm your God, right? And if I'm your God, there's no way in the world you can have your own purpose. There's no way in the world you can not do my work for me because I did a work for you. And it should never, ever, ever be forgotten. You know? So that was just a little bit of the war of the Philistines, just to give you a clear idea of what was going on, of how you're going to have these kind of conversations if you're doing Feast of Tabernacles, and those are coming up. These are kind of conversations that we got to have with the men, with the women, with the children who never knew anything at all, who think that, all we do is just read Jesus in the New Testament, and you don't even know that that same man is that man from yesterday. He's in the Old Testament. He's everywhere throughout the Bible, and he's doing a thing, and he wants you to understand. But you have to listen to one man and be willing to bow your ear and take heed. You dig what I'm saying? A man is not going to just tell you this, just not to tell you this. You dig what I'm saying? So let me close this out with a word of our sponsor, and this is Romans chapter 7 and verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth. This law right here is you're under this law. This is not for people who's not under the law. This is for the people who are under the law. And you saying you know God. At the end of the day, when you know God and you know you under a law, this right here has dominion over your life as long as you live. If you do it, then you could be able to reap your reward. If you go against it, you're going to have a problem. It's like a woman that's cheating on her husband. You cheating on me, you might have a problem. I might get deranged. I might get crazy. I might chase you down in the street. Women too, right? So because of this factor, God has dominion over your whole life. And I will lead you in perfect peace if you follow me. If you don't, all of these curses that's in Deuteronomy from 15 to 68 is going to be on you. So understand that if it was about choice for us and it wasn't purpose, Deuteronomy chapter 28, it would only be 14 verses, which means if you do all of my commandments, these are the blessings that you're going to get. But if you don't, then don't worry about it because that's your choice. That's not what it says. It says, if you do not do my commandments, all of these curses is going to be on you. So there's no such thing as you can say a man has a choice at this point. Because if I don't do the commandments, all of those curses that's going to cleave to me, that's written in his book, is going to happen to me. Now, you can't say throughout the whole world that the whole world is not suffering with some type of plague, whether it's hemorrhoids, whether it's something of the stomach, whether it's something of your feet, whether it's something of your legs, whether it's a scalp, a head condition, whatever the case may be, we suffer that. You can be able to turn that around if you follow the commandments. But if you don't, these things are going to cleave to us. And because they cleave to us, they're never going to come off of us because I have dominion over your life. I run you. This is what the Lord is letting us know. I run you. And because of this factor, you won't do what I'm asking you to do. So I got to hit you with this and destroy you. One or the other. It's either this or that, right? So I hope y'all was able to get a little bit of understanding of what the Philistines was trying to do to us and how the Lord, no matter what, the Lord still prevailed and still put them through a discomfort, still put them through a punishment, and still fulfilled his purpose at the end of the day. So because of this factor, I know for a fact that the God is with us and he needs us to do a thing continually so we could be able to continue to subdue these nations. Kwam Yasharala, I hope everybody was able to understand this and be able to take this with some good fruit and understanding and, use it, apply it. You dig what I'm saying? Let's not look at the things that's, what pop out at us. Let's look at this. Let's look at everything, all of the small things that's leading up to certain events in our life and come together. Is nothing wrong with coming together, especially when we got truth right here. You got a God that's over us, that's going to protect us, that's going to lead us, that's not going to let us stumble. You feel me? I love y'all, Israel. I hope y'all stay blessed. I hope y'all stay in good peace. I hope y'all, fight the wiles of the devil because he's everywhere, going to and fro, just trying to toss everybody upside down. But if you got your law, keep that with you, Israel. I love y'all. Kwam Yasharala.